Hey there, true believers. You're tuned into Baxter Building Radio via the Negative Zone feed, and welcome to episode 32 of the Fantastic Four Fancast. I'm your host, Nate Charles, and as always, I am joined by my co-host. His name is Shane Murray. Shane, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Well, we're recording a little earlier, so I'm getting into the swing of things. We'll see how it goes. It's not the first time we've done it, but always makes it interesting for my energy levels.
Yeah, this is my time of the day, so like I'm way more vibrant, I would say.
Oh man, don't sell yourself short. You're always a ray of sunshine.
Oh yeah, that's what I've been known to be. But yeah, this the morning time. I've really enjoyed the morning. So
So what have you been getting into since our last meeting?
our last meeting on air, or last meeting because we played D&D last night, so
That is true. We did play D&D last night, but yeah, since our last on-air meeting,
just work, more work. It's always work. So
I feel like you're glossing over something rather important here. Didn't you recently come into a key book that you'd been looking for?
oh yeah, I did. Yesterday I did get TMNT number 3, first printing, and I am stoked. I'm still riding that high for sure. And then as you know what I found out when I was going through my stuff, I actually have a number 3 third printing also.
Oh, nice. But I mean, nothing beats the first print, you know. That's
No, dude, next time I'll pull it down and I'll show you. You should the size difference between the first print and the second print because they always printed the first printing as like a magazine size, and then they would make it like a comic size for the second and third prints. So the book's like probably instead of being what's an average one, like 8 inches across or something like that, roughly, like a piece of
yeah,
paper.
somewhere along there.
That one's probably like 13. Like it stands out drastically.
Yeah, they were definitely in like a magazine size format there initially.
So it I put it up on my shelf with the encapsulated books, and it is almost bigger. It is wider than one whole encapsulated book and into the second book. Like it's massive.
And it just holds a wonderful place up there on the shelf, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's right next to Usagi Yojimbo number 1.
Nice.
Yeah, because everyone needs a Usagi Yojimbo number 1.
What was Aaron's response when you brought that home?
Knew I was excited. She just was happy that I got it. I was like, yeah, and I got this wicked thing, and yeah, she didn't have quite the same response I had, but
It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure she was just happy to see you happy.
oh yeah. Well, she was. I kind of made her mad last night while I was driving home because I was driving home, and she's like, just call before you get home, and then she'll get the kids ready. So I called her, and I was like, so about that, I flipped, and then she's like. And I'm like, I'm just kidding. And she's like, why would you do that to me? I was like, I didn't even give a pause.
What did you mean by flipped?
Like the car.
Oh, okay.
Like I flipped the car. I was like,
Why
I didn't
would you
even,
do that to her? That's awful.
I don't know. It seemed funny at the time.
Oh,
It was
is she,
not. My wife did not find it amusing at all.
oh,
I did apologize profusely to her afterwards. I thought she would find it amusing because she usually finds my sense of humor amusing, but that one was a little over the top. She's like, everything else has gone wrong for you recently. You can't make that joke right now. And I was like, oh, fair enough. Didn't think about that.
but hey, I am glad you were able to get your hands on what is, well, let's be honest, it's a hot book, right?
Yeah, yeah. That number 4 is also, but I got to finish paying off that number 1.
Well, hey, I'm sure you'll figure that out and you'll end up with both of them most likely.
Probably.
Some point down the line.
Yeah. So now, well, I'm working on paying off that one. I'm missing 4, and I need 9 and 10. And then I'll have the first 10 of the original 61 Mirage books.
Dude, that's awesome.
Then I have like weird other ones. Like I have 26, 32, and 35.
Nice, man. You know, it's a project that that'll take you through for, a couple years, right? the
Oh,
very
more than a
least.
couple of years. There, like I just keep coming across the same issues, like issues I already own. I'm like, I already own this one. Some of those issues are so hard to find.
Yeah. Well, trust me, had the same thing in mind when I started doing the Captain America Volume 1 run that I'm putting together right now. It's nice to have a project. Speaking of hot books, we're not necessarily talking about keys when we say hot books today, but
No,
uh but we do have a hot book in regards to Human Torch Volume 3, Number 3.
it is a weird book. Can't wait to get into this and then find your how you felt about this when it was all said and done.
Yeah, you think it's a weird book?
I think it's paced well for being in the middle of a story, but I think there's a weird middle spot to it.
Okay. Well, cover date on this book was August of 2003. Release date was June 11 of 2003. What were you doing back in June of 2003, Shane?
2003. I was getting ready to go into actual high school, I guess.
All right.
So I was playing lots of Wind Waker.
Such a great game.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I had just gotten my driver's license and I was going everywhere that I shouldn't have been going.
I mean, it's how it goes.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about the jaw-dropping conclusion of that story when we get to Human Torch Volume 3, Number 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Anyway, back in 2003, $2.50 got you this comic. As always, Shane, you know where I'm going with this. I hopped onto pricecharting.com and I got us some values here. Would you like to take a guess utilizing Price is Right rules of guessing the price but not going over on what a graded 9.8 copy of this book has sold for?
Someone actually got this book rated.
Yeah.
I was figuring this was going to be one of the books again, where like where what there was no graded one.
I'm going to be honest with you, Shane. If I have learned anything in my travels is that people get anything graded and encapsulated at this point. It doesn't matter if it costs more for the process to happen than the book itself is valued at. People will just get things graded and encapsulated. I don't understand the logic of it, but here we are. It's the world we live in.
How are you going to read the book?
Exactly. I don't know, man.
I
Don't
hate
know.
it. That's what my favorite thing about that first print is that it's an uncapsulated one. So I can just open it up anytime and look at that beautiful art and read it. But anyway, so 9.8, I'm gonna go with $19.
Well, you didn't go over, but you're only about halfway there. $41.26.
I was gonna say 38 bucks, but it just seemed too much money for this.
How about an ungraded copy? What do you think that has sold for?
Uh $4.50.
$5.40.
Wow, just backwards.
Yeah, nice going though. You're still not over.
Do we have a synopsis for this one?
We actually do. Marvel Unlimited provided us with a single line synopsis for this book. The reinvention and reignition of Johnny Storm continues. That's it. That's the synopsis.
Man, my synopsises seem way more wordy than
I mean,
theirs.
they are. Do you want to give it a shot?
No, I'm good.
All right. Passing up on the synopsis this week. So, our credits for this issue we have writer Carl Kessel, penciler Scotty Young, inker Joe Seong, colorist is Studio F, letterer is Corey Pettit. The assistant editors are Mark Sumerick and Andy Schmidt, editor Tom Brevoort, editor-in-chief Joe Quesada, president Bill Jamis, and Keepers of the Flame, which is a nice way of saying Human Torch created by Stanley and Jack Kirby. I want to go ahead and take us through the cover here, Shane.
Yeah, so it has Johnny flamed on flying directly at the reader or the person looking at it on the shelf of their local comic shop. Again, we have that cool Human Torch font. And then that weird number 4 banner going across the top. I don't know what. that was. Did they do that with all the books? Like I have to go back and do like some research on why that it's there. Did they do that with any of the other ones that were going on in that early 2000s?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I think it might just be for branding purposes. There is the original Human Torch, Jim Hammond, who is not associated with the Fantastic Four. They may have been doing an Invaders book at this point. I'm not sure. They certainly weren't doing another Human Torch book, but maybe this is just to make sure that you're reading about Johnny Storm.
Yeah. So you have that cool Scotty Young Johnny flying at you. And then you have like again some nice computer coloring behind him coming out of like it looks like an explosion almost, which leans into the story pretty hard.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I love this cover. I think this is the best that Scotty Young has made Johnny look in the entire book. This may also be partially because of Pierre-Andre Derry's inks on it as well. But it is a very dynamic image of the torch, him rocketing up from the ground. It's almost Superman-esque with that dust cloud behind him. It just looks incredible.
The only thing I would add to it, the only thing that would have made this cover like a little bit sweeter for me is if it had a corner box.
Fair.
I'm a sucker for a corner box.
We know. There's anything that we've learned over 32 episodes, I think it should be that.
I don't mind the old Marvel like it seems like they've gone away from doing that like just the Marvel with the number there. But like I don't mind it. It definitely tells you like what the period it was printed in is. I just would always like to see a corner box.
Well, you know what the purpose of the corner box originally was, correct?
Just to give you more characters on the cover.
No. So it goes back to when comics were sold at newsstands and there was only so much space, so they would have to overlap periodically. So the purpose of the corner box was when that left-hand corner was sticking out, you could see those characters and therefore identify the book via that, as opposed to
Mm,
being able to see the entire cover.
fair enough. Like I just finished reading that Incredible Hulk run, and they all have corner boxes, and it makes me so happy.
Yeah, corner boxes were really cool pieces of art, and I do wish, even though they're kind of a moot point at this point with direct market comic retailers, I just feel like they're a part of the culture, and I wish they'd come back.
Yeah, so I'm always going to appreciate a good corner box whenever I see one.
Oh, we open up this book and we're greeted first with a recap page for Human Torch. Previously, and we have our countdown throughout the various paragraphs here. 4. Johnny Storm is the youngest member of the world-famous Fantastic Four, with the powers and temperament of fire itself. Impulsive, restless, and thrill-seeking by nature, the Torch doesn't need to wait for the rest of the FF to have adventures. He can get into trouble all by himself. 3. Years ago, shortly after gaining his powers and while still in high school, Johnny got in a fight with fellow classmate Mike Snow. Over a girl, of course. In a fit of frustrated rage, Johnny burned Snow. Badly. 2. Snow never told anyone the truth of what really happened to him. In time, he became a member of the New York City Fire Department and never wanted to see Johnny again. 1. Until another fireman died before his eyes, inexplicably bursting into flames like a human torch. Stanley presents.
Burn Part 3.
And on our next page, our scene shifts to downtown Manhattan after business hours. And we're greeted by a white, looks like a medical building, maybe like a hospital. And inside the hospital, we see Johnny and Mike Snow walking through the corridors. Go ahead and take us through how Johnny is dressed here, Shane.
Oh, Johnny looks like the early, just a regular early 2000s kid with a zip-up hoodie with a number 4 t-shirt, which I'm assuming is like a Fantastic Four branded t-shirt with that looks like it's spray painted. And he's got his headphones on and a cap. A backwards hat? Yeah, backwards hat. Trying to look cool.
And it's a white beanie.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. I was looking at that one picture. It is a beanie when you see it on the other side.
And how about Mike Snow? What's he looking like here?
He's dressed in his fireman like fire suit. like he's about to go fight a fire. I'm assuming to help them get into where Mike Snow wants them to go.
And just a reminder for any listeners, or maybe just a heads up for any listeners who haven't tuned into our previous episodes, which if you haven't, I do highly recommend doing so. We did cover part one of this story in episode 23 and part two of this story in episode 27. But what is Mike Snow's rather distinguishing feature that he has going on, Shane?
He has the burn from when Johnny burned him at the end of issue one.
And Johnny says, "Not really sure what I can do here. I thought Johnny Storm could do anything. That's how it sounds in all your interviews. Thought you didn't get cold either. What's with the parka and cap? It's not about being cold, Snow. It's about being cool. Gotta say, considering I'm somewhere between terrorists and telemarketers on your list of favorite people, sounds like you follow me pretty close. Follow you. Couldn't get away if I tried. I always see something about you or what you've done in the papers or on TV, in the mirror." And Johnny and Mike proceed down the stairs to the basement of this building. Okay, forget it. I'll do what I can. Just probably won't be much. I don't know what you're looking for, what you want. I want to know I did everything I could, Johnny. And what is the room that the two of them end up entering into, Shane?
The morgue.
And inside the morgue, they're greeted by the medical examiner. You want to take us through what this guy looks like, Shane?
He's got red hair and scraggly beard, and he has a very perfect shirt for the time because it says "I see dead people." That's a cultural reference from only the early 2000s. And he's got
Yeah,
his
let's
lab
not say
coat.
what movie it's from because heaven forbid we spoil that twist.
I literally forget what the name of that movie is. But anyway, he's a little heavier set. He's got a shirt that's probably two sizes too small and his belly sticking out. And of course, he's eating McDonald's because what good medical examiners not eating McDonald's while at work?
His face has some really weird angles. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, but like in every shot, this guy looks more sinister than most characters in this book.
Yeah, yes, he does. He looks pure evil.
And the medical examiner says, "Mr. Storm, welcome, welcome. I'm Dr. Chatham, medical examiner. We spoke earlier. I'm so glad we could arrange this little visit. And I must say it's an honor, a complete honor to meet the world famous Human Torch and your friend, Mr. Snow, Mike Snow." "Yes. Well, it's highly irregular, letting someone in like this. A civilian, I mean. Not that you're a civilian, Mr. Storm. Not precisely, eh? So we're not precisely breaking the rules, are we? Take it he was a friend of yours?" "Co-worker of mine." And they wander to the, how would you refer these as freezer
They're
drawers?
they're the ice boxes.
Ah, then I am to assume Mr. Storm's involvement means he met his end through nefarious means, misadventure. And Cassim pulls out one of the drawers with the body bag in it. "I remember one time a heart attack came through here. At least the examiner on duty ruled it a heart attack, but I felt there was more to it. Poison from one of those snake villains, perhaps. Cobra or eel or copperhead or, yeah, there's a lot of them. This isn't like that." Of course it isn't. My apologies. I should have realized from the start that the Human Torch's primary interest in this case would be the type of demise. And I must admit, in my professional opinion, I've never seen a more fascinating example of death by incineration." And Cassim unzips this body bag, and what do we see here, Shane?
Oh, we get a better look at that skull that we seen from the end of issue two, and then more of the body, and it is just skin burnt to bone.
It's a fairly grotesque image for what Scotty Young has been doing so far on the series.
Yeah, the zippers though, the zipper is widely there's like the biggest zipper I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's very stylized. There was tremendous heat, no doubt about that. The clothing was consumed almost instantly, and what little remains of the flesh. And Johnny goes wide eyed and begins to gag. Mr. Storm, are you all right? I find it funny how concerned that Cassim seems because describe the look on his face here.
Oh, dude, he has a smirk, like one big giant grin on his face. He thinks it's amazing.
And Johnny is trying to avoid dry heaving and he puts his hand on the wall next to a clipboard and pen to steady himself. Sure, sure, just. And he grabs the pen from the clipboard, covers by saying, just wanted a pen so I could take notes. And Mike looks at him and says, paper? No thanks. I'll use my arm, just in case there's a test later. If there is, Mr. Storm, I doubt I'd achieve a passing grade myself. There's still so much I don't know about this case. For example, the burning was so extensive, so destructive, it's nearly impossible to determine its point of origin or cause. There's no discernible hot spot where the blaze first caught, no marks of how it spread. The body's too evenly charred. It seems that the bone burned equally as well as the flesh, which is. No, started on his shoulder, both shoulders, then jumped to his hands and feet from inside? Not sure about that. There's some deeper scorching, very subtle, as the flames raced across the rest of his body, engulfing him, ending in his mouth. And Johnny peers at Vinny Costello's charred skull here, which stares back at him in a silent scream. Amazing! But then who would know fire better than the human torch? You must understand its every nuance at an almost cellular level. I guess. Sounds like he breathed in that fire. Probably a reflex. By the time his body knew it was burning and tried to scream, open mouth, insert inferno. No offense. Thanks, Doc. It's been a real learning experience. Your pen. And Johnny hands the pen back to Cassim. Oh, it's been a pleasure, Mr. Storm. And if I could just say, that is, if you don't mind, could you melt it a little for my daughter? And he holds the pen back out to Johnny.
With a creepy look, a very, very creepy look.
And we are taken to outside the hospital where Johnny and Mike are walking down the street. Didn't know you could track fire like that. Me neither. It was weird. As soon as I looked, I could see everything. It was just so clear, like a road map. No, like suddenly reading another language when you didn't know you knew. Ever do it before? Never had to. So, what do you think? Vinny just burst into flames? End of story. Well, that happens, right? Spontaneous human combustion. What else could it be? Let's see. Demons from hell, vengeful pagan gods, unveiling aliens, evil mutants. Yeah, and they would bullseye Vinny Costello. Why? You tell me. Come on, Snow. I stopped these guys from taking over the world. I don't have coffee with them. Maybe there was a mutant involved. Maybe Vinny Costello was a mutant who could set himself on fire once. And Mike Snow looks absolutely unamused by this prospect.
He does.
Sorry. Look, I don't think it'll go anywhere, but I'll check out guys with fire powers. See if any of them could have done it. Thank you. Okay, later. And Johnny just flames on. And Mike goes wide-eyed.
Yeah, and terrified of the flame right away.
Oh, sorry, Snow. I flaming on. Wasn't thinking. Didn't mean to. Um, need a lift home? No, no, I'm fine. Good night, Johnny. And Snow extends his hand to Johnny. who flames off his hand and gives him a handshake and says, Mike. And Mike turns and enters the subway as Johnny takes off into the sky. Yeah, real glad you looked me up, Snow. Real glad we're back in touch. 44 hours later, where does our scene shift to, Shane?
The firehouse.
And we see the garage door is open and we see the fire engine inside. And there's one firefighter in jeans and a t-shirt leaning up against the wall, while the other one is kind of motioning the engine to forward from in front of the vehicle. One leaning against the wall says, "Little further over, Gherkin. Palmer can't see you giving directions otherwise." "This better, Lieutenant?" "Perfect." And we see a shot from the roof of the firehouse. And what are we looking at here?
Two guys standing up there with a water jug saying perfect also.
And the two gentlemen pick up this big red bucket of water. And the one says, "Okay, on three, one." And down below, we see a gentleman in a hoodie and khaki pants approach the probie who was directing the truck on the street. "Excuse me, is this where Mike?" "Oh, sorry, sir, you can't stand there. We're training." And up on the roof, you see these two men with the water bucket shout, "Three!" as they dump the bucket over the edge. And it comes careening down towards the probie and the gentleman in the white hoodie. But what happens, Shane?
The gentleman in the hoodie shoots a bunch of flame up at the water to make it dissolve before it lands on the sidewalk or on top of them.
And as it evaporates, it makes a sound.
Frish.
I actually really like the effect in this panel. The coloring with the fire colliding with the water that creates the steam effect is really cool.
Yeah.
And we see another man enters into the scene, this one wearing a blue New York Fire Department t-shirt. And he walks past the other firefighter who was leaning against the wall, giving instructions to the probie. He says, "Sorry, sudden localized squall. Happens to a lot around probies." And the one that was giving directions just shouts, "No way!" "Probies? Rookies, like Fred here. I'm Lieutenant Sean Matson, and I'd lay money you're—" And we have another gentleman enter the fray in a different blue New York Fire Department t-shirt and an orange ball cap who says, "What was that? I'm shutting down the rig when there's this fireball. It's him, the Human Torch, the real life Human Torch, right here." "Well, I'll be. You're right, Fred. I never thought I'd meet a member of the Fantastic Four. This is a true honor, Mr. Storm. For years I've been a big fan. Oh, please, call me John. Of your brother-in-law, Reed Richards, the greatest mind of all time, in my opinion. What's it like working alongside of him?" And Johnny looks rather bemused at this point and says, "Oh, about the same as I feel right now." And two more firefighters come walking out from the garage door bay, and I believe these are the two who were on the roof. Can you describe them to us, Shane?
Yeah, we got one in FDNY one shirt, and we got one coming out in a Yankee shirt, essentially. And one's got red hair and a goatee, and one's bald with a goatee. They both look like they probably played football in high school.
Very true. And the bald one says, "Hey, you guys see that cloud formation, man? Came out of nowhere." Well, the one in the Yankee shirt says, "Drencher, get caught in that, you'd be wet for days." "Hey, Han, something's wrong with this picture. Tell me, a total lack of condensation." "I didn't do it. He did it. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch." And both of these two new firefighters look rather quizzically at Johnny. The one in the Yankee shirt gets behind Johnny and says, Johnny Storm. Yeah, right. And I'm the winsome wasp. Well, the bald one says to him, Clark and me can't be tricked by some probie. Everyone knows the real Torch is like 6'7" and what does Johnny do here?
Yeah, it just does the most Johnny thing ever and just yells flame on and just flames on his head.
With a big old smile on his face.
Yeah.
And in the next panel, still keeping that smile, he says, flame off. And we get like a really cool transition of flame. I'm really impressed for how simplistic Scotty Young's art style can be and how stylized. He manages to do incredible detail work with it.
Yeah, I don't know if like stylized definitely. I don't know about simplistic would be the word, but definitely
That was a bad
stylized.
choice of words on my part, yeah. But I mean, it's stylized. It's very angular, but like I'm always impressed with how detailed he gets with it.
He does a lot with angles. He's a very angular artist.
And the firefighter in the New York Yankee shirt says, "Oh, you mean Johnny Storm, the Human Torch? Of course it's him." And the bald one then says, "Sorry, Johnny. We thought Gherkin meant that other guy." And who comes walking out of the firehouse, Shane?
Mike Snow.
Oh, that's Johnny, all right. No one else like him. Snowman, you know this guy? You two like friends? We went to school together. Get out. No wonder you became a fireman. Torch is like the ultimate smoke eater. Picture it. Four alarms, high rise, hundreds trap, no sweat. Torch just says, flame off. And the one in the Yankee shirt snaps his fingers. Fire goes out. Yeah, except I can't do that. Can't control fire like that. Well, yeah, but you can like absorb fire, right? Cars blazing. You just suck those flames into you so its paint ain't even blistered. I've seen pictures of you doing that. No, no, you haven't. Oh. And the firefighter in the hat and glasses says, Clark Hahn, please, it's not like Mr. Storm can barely light birthday candles. The man melts steel with his bare hands, cuts through concrete like cheesecake, generates enough heat to ignite an entire building in one bright blazing moment. And I can fly. So he's like a flamethrower, Clark. The world's most awesome flamethrower. The world's most awesome flying flamethrower. Man, that is the best. And the lieutenant cuts into the conversation. Glad that's settled. Now I have some vague memory of people actually working in this station. Gherkin, Palmer, get that engine squared away before I decide you have to wash it again. Clark, Hahn. Yeah, yeah. Check the rescue kits. Almost had that done before we were pulled off for special meteorological duty. Tell the lieutenant you want to ride with us sometime, Storm. Be an honor. Hahn's right. Just say the word. I owe you. You lifted the men's spirits better than any of my lame attempts, and they really needed it. Thanks. See, we lost someone a few days back. Snow told me. That's why I'm here to. And the firefighter in the hat and glasses cuts in again. The groceries have arrived, gentlemen. Chop, chop, Snow. You know we can't wait to eat when it's your turn to cook. And Johnny says, sounds like you're quite the famous chef, Snow. Yeah, famous for burning water, which is why I always cover for Mike when he's on kitchen detail. Says a young woman who enters the scene carrying groceries. And can you go ahead and describe her to us, Shane?
Yeah. One, there's an amazing amount of redheads in this comic book. But two, she's got an eyebrow piercing, ears pierced, whatever that thing is when you have like the bottom of your chin pierced there, and real short haircut, wearing a pink hoodie, and believe she is also Mike Snow's girlfriend.
I believe you're correct because she then follows that up with, I love the man, but the only thing he's good at with fire is putting it out. Johnny, this beauty standard in the station is my girlfriend, Rose Delaney. Rose, Johnny Storm. Oh, so this is him. Here, make yourself useful. Let's get out of these guys' way. They've got work to do. And now so do you. Come on, follow me. And she shoves the grocery bags into Johnny's arms. Do I have a choice? No. Thought so. And Johnny follows Rose into the mess hall. So you've heard of me. Everyone's heard of you. I mean, from Mike. What's he told you about me? Nothing. He goes to school with one of the most famous guys this side of the Kennedys, and he never says one word. To me, that says plenty. Said you might be coming by on account of Vinny. Horrible what happened to him. Yeah, not that he was my favorite person. Vinny had a mean streak, mean sense of fun, but no one deserves to go like that. You wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy. But suddenly, what happened, Shane?
Weeb, 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 as the alarm sounds.
And we see the lieutenant and Mike suiting up with Johnny and Rose in the background. And Rose says, Mike, where? Couple blocks away. Brownstone. Brandon Crow's place. You believe it? In that case, take your time. Why? Who's Brandon Crow? And our scene shifts. And what do we see, Shane?
We see already some other fire trucks there trying to control this flame that is just ripping through this brownstone.
And Johnny is standing next to the lieutenant who says, Crow's a drug dealer. Strictly high end clientele. Wall Street, Park Avenue. Not that anything can be proven, of course. He's inside? I could check. Save your guys the effort. But suddenly, who comes running out of the building, Shane?
Crow.
And he screams, Help! Save me! You want that, you ought to go back inside, Mr. Crow. No, the fire! The fire's after me! Sure it is. Think I know what caused this fire, Clark. Something smoked, and I don't mean ribs or. And suddenly, the door blows off of the brownstone,
Yeah, with the giant flume.
and the firefighters burst out laughing as one says, Look out, Mr. Crow. Here comes that fire after you, just like you said. And what indeed happens here, Shane?
The fire is indeed chasing him.
The lieutenant says, What the hell? As Johnny flames on and Rose looks on. Do you find it strange, Shane, that Rose is allowed to be here at the scene of the fire like this?
Yeah, I do. Like Johnny makes sense, but her is just in her regular civilian clothes. She should be blocked off. I don't know. It's very odd.
Yeah. And Crow begins running down the street, pushing through a number of passerbys, screaming, Out of the way! Move! And this fire has now just taken on an almost mammoth capacity as it zooms down the adjacent street and around the corner.
Yeah.
And Crow runs out into traffic, and a number of vehicles have to hit their brakes.
Yeah, you get a nice scree as they're all coming to a massive halt.
And this fire is gaining on him. And he looks over his shoulder and goes, No, can't be happening. Can't be. When suddenly, what happens?
The Human Torch comes and grabs him by his coat and drags him away from the flame.
Know what you mean. Can't believe I'm rescuing you either. That is assuming your other fiery friend doesn't keep following. But what happens to the sentient fireball that is chasing Crow?
It actually decides to dissolve with a nice foot and just shrinks till nothingness.
And the onlookers on the street just look confused at this development. And we go back to the scene of the initial blaze where a police officer is cuffing Crow. As Johnny says to Snow, Brandon was carrying enough incriminating evidence to win him an extended stay in a state run facility. Must have been trying to save his merchandise when things got too hot for him. and those flames that came after him. You didn't do that just to scare him? Weren't you listening earlier, Snow? I can't do that. I can't control fire. That seems kind of weird, doesn't it, Shane? Because I feel like Johnny has definitely controlled fire in the past,
Dude,
right?
yeah, but didn't we figure it out like from the first issue? This is still like early Johnny.
No, it's not, because this is concurrent with the events of Mark Waid's Fantastic Four run at the time, where he is the chief financial officer of the Fantastic Four.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. I don't know, because he's definitely absorbed fire before, so it's definitely leads to some other questions.
Mike asks, know anyone who can? That's the thing I came to tell you. Assuming the same guy who did this fireball run also toasted your pal, there's no one with powers like that as far as I know. But I do know if it doesn't stop, it'll get worse. And if it gets worse, more people are going to die. To be continued. All right, Shane, what did you think of Human Torch Volume 3, Number 3?
Now I'm getting very interested in seeing where this fire is coming from, but because I don't like to read ahead, so I'm going through the story book at a time. But I don't know. I thought that last issue was like the transitional issue. We were gonna get a little more going on in this one, but this gave us a good setup. It's definitely led to now they have to figure out where this fire keeps coming from and why it's attacking certain people, I guess. What about yourself?
So I'm enjoying this so far. Like I said, I'm having some questions regarding the consistency here with some of the continuity choices with Johnny's powers, but it's interesting to see Johnny Storm in a detective story, right? He's not the type of character that you think would lend himself very well to it. So it's a kind of cool fish out of water thing that's going on here. Definitely keeps my interest. We'll see where it goes from here, but yeah, it's fun so far. Even if we are talking about people dying horribly by being burned to death, you know?
Yeah, which is terrible.
Absolutely. So, Fantastic Four of the week. Might as well move right on to there. You actually go first this week with your Fantastic Frame. So, what was your favorite panel, Shane?
Page 17, panel 1. When the brownstone's on fire and they're all just getting there. I really like the depth of showing what's going on with the fire trucks all lined up. Everyone trying to like circle the building, and then you can see the city like the rest of the city behind it. It has really good lighting going on with the fire on the flames. It's just a really nice set piece.
Yeah, it's a good exercise in perspective and lighting. Yeah, it's the things that you don't necessarily always think about when you're looking at, pictures of superheroes fighting, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's it's I don't want to say it's mundane, but it's a slice of life almost. We've seen pictures of firefighters confronting blazes and whatnot, and this is literally just a drawing of that, but it is a very well done drawing.
So what's yours, bud?
So we're gonna back up to page 12, panel 1, which I talked about a little bit, but it's just a cool shot of Johnny transitioning out of being a blaze. Like I said, Scotty Young's style really adds kind of a different sort of flavor that keeps the fantastic quality to the action of Johnny returning to normal. I just really like how it's illustrated. It's hard for me to describe it any more than I kind of did previously, but no, he really puts those angles to work between how he has. I guess what really sticks out to me is the angles of the flames that he has coming off of the left side of Johnny's face and the angle of Johnny's chin and how it all just kind of merges together.
Yeah, he has a really weird angle for flame that you don't usually see, and I really like the dynamic, harsh like 90s that are put into his flames.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, the thing that helps add to this is those Studio F colors. You get those kind of lens flare flame blurs. It's just cool to see.
Yeah.
However, something that bothered me and what will be my grim grumbling for the week will be pages 3 through 5. and that is Dr. Chasm. Like, why does he look so unnecessarily evil?
I
The
I
o-
don't know.
the only reason I can think of is that he is the guy who's going around setting people on fire. But at the same time, based on his behavior, I don't even necessarily believe that. So yeah, it just seems like a weird choice. There is one panel on page 3, I think it is panel 5. He's unzipping the body bag and he just looks kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say buffoonish, but I mean
Eager.
he looks eager. And that is like the only panel where he doesn't look like he's secretly plotting something, you know? So his design bothers me. But if that's the only thing I have for Grim Grumbling this week, then we're in pretty good shape. How about you?
We're gonna stay around there. We're gonna go to page 3 and then just panel 2 or the whole background of that.
Okay.
Like the McDonald's next to the utensils with the blood all over it, and just all of the nastiness that comes along with that. This is just a nasty panel. I mean, it does build up that he's weird, but like even in the at the bottom of the page, there's that saw with just blood on it. Like, what is he cutting? He's like cutting everything open or something.
I didn't even realize this. I think the part about this panel that really disturbs me is his taste in music.
The Tool and the Marilyn Manson CD.
Not for me, but
The McDonald's next to the used tools was totally okay.
I
That
mean,
Big
really,
Mac.
who's he putting at risk aside from himself with that, right?
Yeah, I guess it's just gross. Eat your Big Mac somewhere else, my guy.
Hey, he's one of those people who likes to eat at his workstation, I guess.
Ugh.
How about your cosmic cliffhanger, Shane? Where did you go for that this week?
So going back on the fact that you think we're not sure what happens with this guy, and he's uncharacteristically looks evil in 90% of the panels he's in. Page 5, panel 9.
Where he asked Johnny to melt the pen?
Yeah, I feel like that's gonna come back later in this series somewhere.
Okay, I mean, time will tell on that.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, but that seems very weird. And it got its whole own panel, so I feel like it might pay off. Might not. What's yours, bud?
Well, I think that Mortal Peril makes for the best cliffhangers, honestly. So let's go ahead and jump over to page 19, panel 5, where Brandon Crow is about to be devoured by this fireball that is chasing him down. Just the sheer panic on his face, the coloring, which, is indicative of how close that fireball just is to engulfing him. Are we about to see another murder? Are we going to see the torch save him? That is obviously what happens, but his fate is obviously hanging in the balance here. So, no,
Yeah,
that's what I decided to go with.
fair enough. I can tell you what, the shading on a lot of these panels is so good. They do such a good job of like highlighting where the light source is, and if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. And it's so good.
I mean, literally, we've been talking about Scotty Young's artwork here, but we really cannot take away from Jim Seung's inks or the Studio F colors. Like it
Yeah.
all just comes together so well on this book. It is visually astounding.
So what do you got for MFP there, bud?
I mean, I feel like most fantastic player, and I'm kind of surprised that I don't think we've really done this before with this book in the past 2 issues. It's Johnny. It's his book, and therefore it should be his show. But it is really nice to see him put in the legwork here. He's from making calls to the medical examiner, he's interviewing the first responders at the firehouse, saving Brandon Crow from a sentient fireball, apprehending him with drugs on his person. I mean, Johnny does literally everything in this issue, so there was really no other choice. He is MFP hands down.
Yeah, I also went with Johnny. I said about maybe that new powers with the like the fire reading thing, and
That
then
is true. That was an awesome touch that they added to his power set in this issue.
just like the rescues slash gets the criminal locked up for because he rescues the criminal. So yeah, Johnny hands down in this one.
100% agree. For those of you who want to check out this series as we're going along with it, obviously you can find it in the back issue bins of your local comic book store, but there's also the Human Torch Burn trade paperback, which was initially published in April 2009. There's also a Human Torch by Kessel and Young, the complete collection trade that was published in July of 2014. Or, of course, Marvel Unlimited has this issue for your consumption. Well, Shane, are you interested in hearing what we're talking about next week?
Yeah.
You got any guesses?
So where are we going? We're going into
Week three.
week three. Um, are we doing Burn?
Yeah, we are returning to John Byrne's run on the Fantastic Four with Volume 1, issue 233, which, if you end up looking at the cover of that, Human Torch based. So we're sticking with Johnny Storm stories here.
Well, that's good. We're gonna heat up the month of January for everyone. It's a cold month here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and luckily this will not impact their bill.
That's good because that gives me a reason to open up the omnibus too, going forward.
That is true. You got some cool friends who give you these things, I tell you what.
Yeah, did get that for Friendsmas.
Well, true believers, as always, your feedback is important to us. We would highly appreciate it if you left us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a comment or review on Spotify. Those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts really help the show. You can subscribe to us on your preferred listening platform. As I said, we're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on Amazon. We should be showing up in a number of RSS feed apps. You can have us there in your feed each and every week for easy consumption. On Facebook, we are at the Fantastic Four Fancast, where we encourage you to engage in FF related discussions and share Fantastic Four related content. We only ask that you adhere to the group rules, which most importantly is to be respectful of your fellow posters. I have been doing this day in FF history posts again. So
Yeah.
most days you can find an issue of the Fantastic Four that we advise you to check out floating around on there. And it's a great way to let us know if there's something you want to hear us cover on the show.
Do you remember what today's was?
I believe it was Fantastic Four Volume 1, Issue 13, as we are recording this on January 3rd of 2026. And I think that was the first appearance of the Red Ghost, his Super Apes, and the Watcher.
You want to try again? There's multiple things. There's two.
Okay, so,
There's one,
oh, that was
two.
yesterday. No, well, okay, so I know one of them was Red Ghost.
Yep.
Well, I think I have 3 posts scheduled for today.
I don't know. So the one is the Red Ghost for sure.
Another one would probably be Marvel 2 and 138, right?
Yeah, it is.
Which was a team up between Ben Grimm and Daredevil.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then the third one,
I
spoiler alert for you, is going to be Fantastic Force Volume 1, number 5, which I don't know if you were aware of what Fantastic Force was, Shane. But it was a spin-off book in the 1990s where I believe an adult Franklin Richards leads a Fantastic Four side team that has like She-Hulk and Black Panther and a couple other characters that I think have long since been forgotten about.
yes.
So, but hey, maybe someday we will dive into Fantastic Force on this podcast. Let us know if you would like us to. We're also on Instagram. You can find us at Fan4Fancast. That is FAN the number 4, FANCAST. And you can also contact us by email with any feedback and suggestions at fan4fancast@gmail.com. Again, that is FAN the number 4, FANCAST@gmail.com. Shane, you got any final thoughts for us this week?
No, I started looking at the Fantastic Four team members. It's redunculous.
Oh man, I'm tell you what, you want to talk about mid 90s greatness.
Psylord, Vibraxis,
You know who Psylord is,
Huntera.
right? Psylord is
It's
Franklin Richards.
Franklin, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have Huntera.
who I
Do you
think
know
was
that
Reed's sister.
Franklin Richards' aunt from an alternate universe,
Yeah,
armed with a scythe? Then you have Vibraxis and Delvor, Devlar.
yeah,
Woof. Also, She-Hulk, Black Panther, and Human Torch.
yeah. So you see, it's like the Fantastic Eight.
It is
Fantastic
like
Force is a much better name than Fantastic Eight.
it is so 90s. The like just the font for the cover is just oh my God.
Yeah. So you'll see that show up on the Facebook feed later. But
That's
obviously, for
aggressively.
our listeners, it'll be in the past.
Fair enough. I was having fun. Yesterday, I was like, oh no, no one's gonna want to hear that one when Ultimate Fantastic Four showed up.
It got a couple likes. We'll see. But yeah, the Facebook group is where we're really trying to try some new things and get some interest going to see where we want to get some future episodes coming from.
Yeah,
Please
as
don't hesitate to contact us. That's the point of this message.
yeah, please do reach out.
That being said, true believers, until next week, Shane and I hope you all stay fantastic.